This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace,
Gamefly,
and GoDaddy.
On this week's TRS, we are talking about the Surrogates, the new Coen Brothers movie, A Serious Man. We got Need for Speed Shift and Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. On top of all that, we're going to the Magic Castle.
Luigi?
It's Luigi.
Luigi? What did I say?
I said Luigi. Luigi.
It's Luigi. You know.
Three rad geeks who've been bored for weeks absolutely freak when their car starts to speak. They made a few tweaks and plugged up the leaks, but how these techniques make their vehicles speak. Now it helps them to sneak into movies each week and adds thermal heat-seeking rocket critiques. We know it's unique. If you saw it, you'd shriek. So follow the link to The Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 132. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Totally Rad Show is a weekly dose of all things rad. We go down to the old Blockbuster video, check out all the rad stuff that's direct to DVD. We should do a segment that's like direct to DVD madness. Was it Chupacabra Terror? Super exciting. We have successfully shot out the anus of the relaunch.
Wow.
And
really just going there.
We're currently in the new show stuff.
Thanks everybody for all your awesome feedback about the new website, about the new look of the show. We're getting lots of great feedback from everybody. And
thanks for everybody who sent in stuff that is currently in the new relaunch,
if you are
in the new website.
Audio listener, go back and watch last week's episode and this week's episode. It's a good time to see what you've been listening to. And
also be aware that the website is still evolving, so you'll notice there are things that are continuing to change.
And
hopefully as you've been paying attention to right before we popped on the screen, you'll see that the show evolves
The show
as
is
well.
evolving every week.
Speaking of
also,
evolution.
Hector Barrientos.
What about evolution?
This is your avatar, right? It's the evolution of Jeff's avatar.
Thank you, Alex, for saying
You're welcome. You're welcome. There was some sort of
There's been a lot of renditions of us over the years.
Yes.
And I will say that
Sounds
I
like
think
we've been doing this a long time.
Dennis Calero, Comic-Con background, and this, I think, are the best, especially of. I feel like I'm always a hard guy to peg.
I'm gonna say
You've
my
got your
velvet
hair.
portrait.
Okay, of you.
Of
no,
me.
I was saying of me.
You.
I think I'm a harder dude.
Well, we're talking about Dan right now.
I'm a harder guy to make, and even Dennis Calero said that I'm a really difficult dude to render.
I believe the way he put
You're
it was
an
just
enigma.
so normal.
Yeah,
You're
so
such a plain,
You're
regular
an enigma wrapped in a conundrum.
Right.
Of
So I
for
feel
artists.
like, holy crap, thank you, Hector Barrientos.
Yes.
Yeah,
And speaking
very
of
cool.
holy crap, let's get into a fun show. What?
This week in movies, we're talking about two. We're going to start off with The Surrogates. Big deal.
Especially for this show.
For our show. Only for our show.
Well, I
really.
mean, it's a comic book turned
Big
into
deal
a
for-
movie with Bruce Willis.
Here's why it's a big deal. It's a very under the radar comic book.
Yes.
Put on the radar for a brief shining moment by this show.
This show made the radar
If
blip.
you remember episode 21
Yes,
of
it
our
is.
show, not
I believe
only
the
did we
title was called
review
Jacked Off.
Right. Not only did we review the Surrogates, but one of the more famous moments in the history of our show.
Let us self-congratulate.
Well, no, it's a
Well, it's
Danism.
because
It has gone down in history as a Danism.
It was a very funny
You broke,
thing.
one of the first times you broke the show.
Broke the show, right? Very funny.
Damage, not murder.
Wow.
And if you're about to be raped, you just jack off. I don't know.
Oh my God, you're right. Okay, I'm better. Oh. That was really close. I almost got raped, but
Why do
I
I do
masturbated.
these? Why do I say anything? And not only that, but you can. Okay. Surrogates is based on a comic by Robert Venditti and Brett Weldell, and I don't know if I pronounced that guy's last name right.
Yeah.
But it's set in a future where mankind has built robots to go out and live their lives for them. Surrogately. People sit in these like STEM chairs, they're called, and they just view, it's not like, you know, that movie Strange Days where they just saw the memory or whatever. It's like you really are just experiencing that life. And if you are, like, if you're about to get raped, for instance, you could just jack out. And the movie stars Bruce Willis as a detective who's examining, what is it called when a detective investigates a crime where...
Like a doctor, he's examining the crime.
A surrogate robot was killed, as well as the guy in control of the surrogate was killed at the same time.
For the first time ever.
For the first time ever. And basically through that, that device is a surrogate to explore the world of this future. It's directed by Jonathan Mastow, who is no stranger to the hot machine-on-machine action. He did Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. But
you're in rare form today,
he
Gage.
also did one of my favorite movies. I know it's one of your favorite movies. One of the best modern suspense films ever made, called Breakdown.
Great movie.
Okay.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, the trucker, him and his wife
such a brilliantly
get pulled
simple
over on a highway.
Premise.
And then a trucker's like, and his wife has gone missing, and no one admits to ever having seen his wife.
Was she Sandra Bullock?
No, she was.
Somebody
I don't know who
right?
she was.
She's in Apollo 13.
It's okay. It's up here right
Yeah.
now.
So anyway. No. So the Surrogates. Not only that,
Wow.
there's okay.
Still talking about the Surrogates.
Alice, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, so we really enjoyed the comic and sort of have had this sort of like virtual love affair with the concept.
Right.
And the trailers for this movie, I was very roared about it. And then inevitably, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really fun. I thought, is it a great movie? No. Is it a go run out and if you miss this, you're gonna be, bummed beyond? No. But it was fun. I enjoyed the chase. I didn't like how they made the surrogates seem so like robot-y. You know what I mean? I thought the whole point was
Visually, you mean, or
yeah, and like guys
emotionally?
would sort of do like twitchy stuff, and they would act sort of like I'm now my robot guy, and it was like
and the dance sequence when they're all like
yeah, and I didn't get that. Well, no, the dance sequence was basically like what the dance sequence was. But so I didn't. So that kind of took me out because I thought the whole point was you couldn't really tell who was and wasn't a surrogate right off the get-go. It's just like, oh, 4 models are coming to attack me. They must be surrogate. So anyway, so I really, I dug it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. Towards the end, it got a little, but I liked it.
I thought it was decent as well. I didn't love it, but I thought it was a solid entertainment film. I think that the thing we all really loved about the comic was the ideas and how well fleshed out those ideas were. And I don't think the film prioritizes ideas in the same way that the comic did. It prioritizes action and moving you through the story, and that's okay because that's kind of what movies are for. But I wish the movie had embraced the ideas a bit more and the suspense of the whodunit played out a little better. I felt like the reveals didn't land in a very impressive way. Overall, I had an enjoyable time seeing it,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's a bad movie at all. It just didn't live up to the source material in the way that I had hoped it would.
Yeah.
Good way to put it.
I also, or even more so, was very disappointed, or am very disappointed in the movie. It felt very late '80s, early '90s action movie. It felt like a pre-Bruckheimer action film. We've come so far.
A pre-Bruck?
In the way we visualize futures, and this felt like the future from Back to the Future Part 2.
One of my favorite futures, let's be honest.
Well, even more so than a movie
Still
like
becomes a
the
fruition.
comic was very reminiscent of Blade Runner. It's a noir.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's interesting, and this world was none of that.
That's true.
And yet it could. I mean, it's a noir story.
Yeah.
Did not feel that way visually or tonally. There were 2 action sequences in the movie. One was okay. All the effects needed way more time in the oven, I thought.
Well, it seemed like they were baking a lot more on making them look like young versions of themselves.
Which also was a very old school looking effect. And I mean, if any movie could have benefited from Stan Winston, who may rest in peace, but like, or his studios, any movie that could have benefited from practical effects is a robot movie like this. And it seemed like they were few and far between. It did not do anything justice from the comic, and not only that, but there is a prequel to this as well, comic book wise, that yours truly has a quote on the back cover. So I really recommend reading both of those comics
and the back cover
a few times before you
this is one of those things where I'm like, if it's on Sunday on high def HBO, watch it, enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's what I told Heather to do. She's like, should I go see it? And I go, eh.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. It's so weird how the other week we reviewed a movie that was like the first movie we reviewed from that director. What was that?
Say what?
The other week we reviewed a movie, and it was like the first time on the show that we got to review a movie from that director.
The chick?
Like, 2 weeks ago.
You gotta tell me when it's gonna be on
Maybe
the
it
quiz.
was Karen Kusama, yeah. Maybe it was the chickadee-girl fight. I don't know.
I didn't know this was gonna be on the midterm.
Anyway, now we're reviewing a Coen Brothers movie. It's our like 3rd Coen Brothers movie we're reviewing in our show.
Movies.
And we've been doing a show for not even 3 years.
That's because they're putting out annual movies, which is amazing.
It's not, but I don't think we've done the show for 3 years, and this is our 3rd of their movies.
That's crazy.
So, A Serious Man is
Slice of life movie.
Yeah, I mean, basically what it follows a Jewish father whose sort of life is imploding as he tries to deal with his life imploding, and kind of in the way that Fargo explores that milieu. Really like all their films, but Fargo is filled with those colloquialisms of that place and that time. This is the same way. It's 1967.
A suburb.
And it's the Coen brothers. So from Blood Simple, No Country for Old Men, Burn After Reading, Miller's Crossing.
They jump around thematically, don't
Jeff,
they?
what did you think of A Serious Man?
This, first of all, love the Coen brothers, and I love them for exactly what you said, which is what we've mentioned before as we've reviewed their films, where they are so fascinated and fascinating when they're fascinated with language, and it's fascinating to see them deal with it, how people communicate, how people's regionalities affect how they communicate. Very specific characters. The characters in this film are really spectacular. This is a hard film to love. It is very dark and very depressing, but also very profound in its own way, and it has some really interesting things to say. It's not a film that I walked away from and said I loved, but I loved the fact that I saw it. It's a film that stayed with me a great deal over the last week since we saw it. I've thought about things. It has a lot to say, and it is so much about the big questions of life, which are so interesting to see art deal with, and specifically these filmmakers deal with, because they seem like such interesting, ponderous guys. It's very dark, as I said, very depressing, not the feel-good hit of the summer. And if you thought No Country for Old Men was enigmatic, this film is far more so, and probably not a film a lot of people who watch this show will enjoy, but I love the fact that I saw it.
Yeah.
But plenty of comic moments.
Yes, plenty of comic moments,
Sure.
but...
Did they do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, didn't they?
Yeah.
All right. This movie. I actually actively disliked this movie pretty good. You get that great Coen brother-ness, because I also am a huge fan of the Coen brothers. You get that great, characters are so defined, like specific and perfect for that time, and the shots are really very, there's a lot of beautiful shots that don't need to be in the movie, that are, it's such a great Coen Brothers thing, and it really tries to bring that sort of slice of life. For me, and there are really, honestly, laugh out loud moments. I really enjoyed the comedy stuff, but for me, the story just really fell flat for me. it ends horribly abruptly, and I mean, obviously that was done for a reason. Me personally, it wasn't one of those like, oh my God, I just got hit by something. It was like a, what? Okay, I guess I'm gonna go get dinner. What? And unlike you, it didn't stick with me at all. I haven't thought twice about it since I left, except to go, boy, I would not tell anybody to go see that movie. I don't think. You know, it was one of those movies that was just like, look at all this bad stuff happening. Wasn't that fun? And not in a way that I thought was sort of new or unique. So for me, it was just like, ooh.
Well, Dan, as our resident Jew, I think this film, I think you kind of glossed over how Jewish this movie is. It's really about the Jewish experience.
It is.
In a lot of ways.
It very much is. Thematically, everything is, there's the cliche of the neurotic Jew who's worrying about everything. And this
for
movie,
whom life is hard and gets harder. You know, it's like life sucks and then you die.
Right, and there's also, even in the religion, there's this big deal with questioning. We question everything and question, and this movie is about questioning without answers.
Did the question is, connect with it?
Right. I definitely connected in a deep way to that stuff. You know, that I feel that any Jewish dude who goes to this movie is like, oh my God, like, yes, the training to have to sing for your bar mitzvah and all that stuff. It's like, oh, I never see that stuff. You know, it's great to see that. And the first half of this movie, I really enjoyed. I was like, oh, amen. I said, Baruch atah Adonai. I'm with you. You know, it was awesome. But then the second half just didn't, for me, bring anything else to the mix. A device happens midway through where it says the first rabbi. And it was like, why? Well, yeah, like, I got it with the first, like, it just sort of hammered. And it's interesting, too, because this movie had, let me say, too, love the Coen Brothers. Miller's Crossing is one of my favorite movies of all time, and all their others are, like, just underneath it. And I like about them exactly what you guys like, and I'd even say that, you know, filmmakers like Tim Burton, you feel like it could be advertised as from the mind of Tim Burton, you know?
Right.
And the Coen Brothers, it's not, you can't say from the mind of the Coen Brothers. It's like all their movies have their own mind, and you're exploring, like, it's not Tim Burton's world, it's not the Coen Brothers world, it's like the world of Fargo, you know, the world of Miller's Crossing, the world of you know. And I found it remarkably similar to Burning After Reading, which I felt was sort of odd that they would want to make a movie like this. So because it felt so similar.
Oh, it didn't feel similar to me at all.
And then it's about something that was caused, created, and imploded all in the same, without anyone, you know, excuse me. And this movie had one of the best trailers of the year.
Yes.
And I felt like I felt like the trailer said everything very eloquently, that the movie takes a lot more time.
I don't know, dude.
It doesn't say anything other than, that's actually interesting.
I disagree with that.
It doesn't say anything other than the thing, because
I disagree. I felt like those, especially that structure you're talking about with the way each of the ideas that are expressed by those rabbis, or lack thereof, are expressed within the actions of the film too. It's sort of like these little things represent, you know, that change in perspective that the one guy is talking about, and it really landed on me in a very profound way. And
interesting.
I got a lot out of the movie. And,
interesting.
That's
good. Somebody did. Hey everybody, welcome to the Magic Castle. You may be wondering why us gentle folk
we clean up real nice.
Clean up. Now you get to see what happens if you invite us to a wedding, and we go, because we do get invited to a lot of weddings.
We're also joined by
the Magic Man himself, Brian Brushwood.
Yeah.
Revision
as
3,
well.
Scam Schools.
Scam School, yes. Revision3.com/scam school
Scam.
Also, Matt Patton here, who's the events manager for the Magic Castle, has graciously offered to give us a tour of what may be the coolest place on the planet.
So this is So I will give my version of what I assume this is.
Dan has never been
in LA
here.
for 5
Mike has
years.
never been here.
The Magic Castle. The Magic Castle is an exclusive place where you have to be a magician to go or be friends with one. I am not friends with one until.
Whoa!
I have never been. until I met Brian.
all right.
So we were excited to finally put this
Very
together.
excited. Very
You guys
There's a lot of
have been,
excitement in this room.
you guys have been to the Magic Castle.
Yeah, I was
guys
lucky
are
enough to get an
friends.
invitation. You have to be invited.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Not just by magician members, though. We now have associate members who are non-magicians.
How
who
do you
love
do that?
A magician's assistant, perhaps?
Actually, they're kind of classified as magicians because
Interesting.
they know all the secrets.
How do you
anyway,
become
so.
that?
I love that.
Are you allowed to say that on camera? How
Actually,
you
on our
become that?
website, www.magiccastle.com, you can check out our membership section and find out about associate and magician memberships.
What?
I'm
I would
doing that.
love to be a member.
Why don't we go inside and we'll start the tour
I'd
in
love
there
to.
with a little bit of
Amazing.
history.
Okay,
Do you guys
cool.
know how to get inside?
I
Dan
hear-
thinks he does.
There's an-
Thinks he does.
I've heard, this is what you hear when you hear about the Magic Castle, there's an owl waiting to say a magic word to it.
That's right. What's the magic word?
It's either abracadabra or open sesame.
Associate magician.
I think it's open sesame.
All right. This actually does have, this is going to seem really weird, but this actually does have a very kind of speakeasy vibe in here. Like, very like behind the scenes, closed doors, people partying, doing a little bit of
Fire in the fireplace.
I guess this place was around during Prohibition, right? I mean, was it ever a speakeasy?
The Magic Castle was not actually. The original mansion here was built, though, in 1908 by a man named Rollin Lane, and it was his private residence for he and his fiancee, later wife, all the way up through the late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
Private residence, wow.
So it was the largest mansion in Hollywood at the time, and
I'd be
So,
so,
yeah,
scared.
1908.
If I heard
Oh,
a
dude.
noise downstairs, I'd be like, fuck it. I'm sleeping through that.
Never going downstairs again.
the two brothers Milt and Bill Larson, who come from a long lineage of magic in their family. Their father was actually Harry Houdini's personal attorney.
Wow.
So they saw the building, and their father had always wanted a private club for magicians and his friends. So they came and renovated the building, and over a long renovation process, to this date, 46 years.
Wow.
Every day we come in, and we never know what Milt's gonna be doing, and he's 78 years old now, and still
That's
tearing
amazing.
down walls and making the castle his dream. So
That is amazing.
that's what it's become today. This is Irma, our ghost who plays the piano. She isn't here right now. She's taking her afternoon nap, but later in the night she entertains guests by taking requests for songs, talking to you through music, and just having a grand old time.
It's the craziest thing you will
Yeah,
ever see.
it is.
By the way, don't challenge her, you'll lose.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there with my brother. My brother goes, Guns N' Roses, and sure enough, Irma just started playing. It was
It's the
awesome.
craziest thing in the whole. It will
Yeah.
blow your freaking mind.
like
Yeah, your
built-in
mind
karaoke
is-
at the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
It is. It's really crazy. So this is like one of the places we would see magic.
This is one of the places you would see magic. Actually, the castle started in 1963. Upstairs we had the close-up gallery, our smallest showroom, Irma's room, and the main bar. That's all that the club consisted of. Now it's almost 30,000 square feet with 13 performance areas for magicians, including this one.
This is something I would like to have in my house.
Yes, this is something that you normally have in the basement of your house, and you don't take your parents to, but here at the Magic Castle we share. We share with everyone. So this is the Hat and Hair Bar. We have our Martini Lounge down here, Friday, Saturday nights, with world-class magicians. We're having lots of fun here.
Associate magician, here I come. Right?
This is the close-up gallery. It was our very first showroom here at the castle, and it's kind of considered the holy grail of the world of magic. If you've been invited to perform in the close-up gallery, you've really, really made it.
Wow.
The best of the best work in here. 8 shows a night, 7 nights a week.
My goodness.
Wow. You've done
so-
this, right, Brian?
I've watched a show.
Oh, that's what I meant. I didn't imply.
It's great fun. Let's head up the main
So
staircase
smart.
here and look at another bar. Bar number 3.
Wow, God, so many bars, so little time.
This is the perfect club.
None of them are open
Exactly.
yet.
Behind the lead glass there, you may see Johnny Carson's original Tonight Show backdrop.
Oh.
Wow.
The Formica Cityscape there.
That's awesome.
Johnny Carson was a member here at the castle all the way up until he passed away. He loved magic and loved this place, so he was around quite often. Up here we have a stuffed owl. That's Dante's owl. Dante was a very famous magician from the early 1900s. He had this pet owl and he stuffed it, and now it's here, and it's our fortune-telling owl.
That's the actual owl?
That's the actual owl. So here we are in the Houdini seance room.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we actually hold seances here to come in contact with the spirit of Houdini.
Wow.
That all is derived from the final Houdini seance, which took place here in Hollywood on top of the Knickerbocker Hotel. It happened on October 31st, 1926. Everything in the room is Houdini's. Everything from his original metamorphosis trunk behind you.
I was like, what? What's Houdini's? Wow, that's his metamorphosis trunk?
We have his straitjacket, many of his handcuffs. We have his original milk can escape here.
Wow.
What?
Wait, that's the actual milk can escape?
Uh-huh. So,
Wow.
he has stories beyond belief.
Epic.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Let's get it. That is awesome.
Touching the milk can.
There's the
Quick, I need access to the stories.
There's the.
It's going to be a newsy
What?
thing, and it didn't kind of.
Here we are in the Palace of Mystery area. The Palace is our largest showroom. It seats 130 people, and we have 3 shows a night in here.
Maybe 2 variety acts and magician.
Oh wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So cool. This place is enormous.
I know. It's
Like,
got
there's so
nooks and
many-
crannies like it's going out of style.
It's got nooks and crannies like a
I want
Thomas's
this
English
house.
muffin.
Yeah, that's good.
Thompson?
Thomas's.
Here we are at the entrance of the parlor of prestidigitation, and we have an homage to Dai Vernon, also known as the Professor. He was arguably one of the most famous close-up magicians that ever lived. He created a lot of the card tricks, coin tricks, cup and ball routines that you see today, actually. During the 1960s, when they were creating the Magic Castle from the mansion into what it is, now he actually lived upstairs and oversaw all the construction.
Wow.
He really didn't have a family except for the magic community, so he always wanted to be here. He passed away in 1992, the age of 92 actually, and he's actually up there in an urn on top of the mansion.
Get out of town!
This is where he is forever, just like he wanted to be.
Oh, it's so cool. Epically creepy. Is this from the Disneyland attraction?
This is the original miniature that Walt Disney saw to create the Haunted Mansion attraction. He saw this and
Oh my god.
Oh,
As the moon climbs high on the dead oak tree.
holy crap.
Like, hey, Walt, look what I can do.
actually over here we have our magic classroom where we have classes 4 nights a week. You can start in beginners and go all the way through advanced and then become a magician member of the castle, actually.
Wow. Oh, that's
Kind of
cool.
cool stuff over there. This is W.C. Field's original trick pool table that he used in the Ziegfeld Follies and many of his films in the early 1900s. So
Oh, that's so cool.
kind of cool stuff. Over here in the corner, we have Madame Karnak, who was the original automata that Johnny Carson's Tonight Show character was based off of,
Wow.
and
that's
also the
crazy.
character in the movie Big,
Right.
Zoltan.
Yeah.
Zoltan.
That's so cool.
Great. She's a wax figure and needs a hairdo very, very badly.
So you can just apply for classes here?
You
just-
can actually sign up on our website and come take classes. You actually get a temporary membership while you're in classes at the castle to be in the club and, be able to fraternize and learn from other magicians.
Wow. That's a pretty cool thing.
That's a
for any
really cool
field to
thing.
have an opportunity like that.
I know. Think if you could sign up for classes in filmmaking, and all of a sudden you're hanging at the DGA clubhouse,
Right,
or
right.
chatting with all the other ones.
Yeah.
But we have
Amazing.
shows going until from 7 o'clock until 12:15 every night. So.
Amazing. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much,
you're
Mick.
welcome.
Thank you very much, man.
That, my
Fun, guys.
friends,
We really appreciate
Enjoy.
it. Thank
is the
you.
Magic Castle.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Enjoy.
It was a real treat.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
I did some magic. Dudes, my mind has been blown
Okay, so what-
by magic.
People did not see was like basically
The magic.
all the coolest stuff.
Well, we took a tour, and it wasn't like you can't videotape. First off, I hope you enjoyed the tour because they don't even allow people to take pictures
Yeah.
inside the Magic Castle.
Right.
Not even pictures of the magicians. So I don't quite know. We got to thank Dodd Vickers for hooking that up
Thank
over
you.
at magicnewswire.com because
It's such a privilege to be able to
I have no
be
idea
there.
how he actually hooked it up.
Yeah.
Halfway through the tour,
was
we were
magic.
like, it was magic. We were like, how are we able to do this?
Yeah. But then,
Then we saw-
the kind of the evening, the patrons entered and they kind of opened for business, and we weren't allowed to shoot anything. But we did get to have dinner,
Yeah.
which was delicious,
Amazing.
and see what 3
Well,
shows.
I'll tell you what else. They
4
saw on the
shows?
tour, you guys were like joking about the invisible piano player,
Oh,
Irma.
yeah. Irma.
That experience of sitting in a room, hanging out with your friends, and you'll be talking about you really need to get in shape like Rocky or something, and all of a sudden you hear the Rocky theme playing
Yeah.
on the piano.
You can have a
Amazing.
conversation with the piano, the ghost piano player, and the
invisible-
only way she can communicate with you is by playing something. So,
Yeah.
song titles will be the answers to questions.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And then we saw amazing magic. We saw lots of really good magic. The comedy magic thing was
It was really
hysterical.
funny.
It was great magic. Then we saw this
the comedy
close-up
act.
artist,
Yeah.
this close-up magician.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Johnny Ace
Miller.
No, not Miller. Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace Palmer.
Yes.
Mind-blowing.
Amazing.
One of the
Mind-blowing.
greatest performances of anything I have ever
The
seen.
most award-winning magician of the past few years. Like there's an award that magicians get every 3 years. They give it
7.
out, and sometimes they don't give it out.
Yeah.
It's every 7 years.
Every 7
It's
years?
Like
3 years.
I think it's every 3
Aquapalooza.
years, but he's won it like twice, and sometimes they don't even give this out.
And
Yeah.
he was the only close-up magician to ever receive
Yeah, it was all close-up magic. So literally, we were a foot and a half away from this guy, and he did. We were. There were moments where, which
Yeah.
I wish we had on tape, where we would go, "Oh!"
The
like,
whole room is
insane.
flipping out.
Insane.
Yeah.
The ring thing where he was like, I take my ring off, and he took his ring off, and then I go like this and never took it off, and it's like, it was CG.
Anyway,
it
it
was
was a
just crazy.
phenomenal experience.
It was
I mean,
crazy.
you didn't get to see that on the tour, but
And I hope it was clear too that the reason why we were wearing suits was because that's the dress code.
Yeah.
The only way to hang out. It's like it just feels like a cool James Bond, you know, because
Magic
you
James Bond.
have to be in that
think I'm
dress,
gonna
and
start
everyone around you is
Requiring jacket and tie at my house.
yeah, or ascots.
Ascots are optional.
Yeah.
Hey.
Reload.
The Need for Speed series from EA is a racing game series that straddles the line alternately between really hardcore simulation-style racing games and much more arcade-style, sort of fantasy fulfillment racing games. We discussed one of the
We reviewed
previous ones.
Undercover.
Undercover,
Yeah.
we did, yes. And that was definitely more along the lines of the, action film style chase racing game. The newest Need for Speed, which is called Shift, is the game we're going to be talking about today, and it is definitely the simulation side of racing games. A type of game that I personally don't play very much. I'm not a gearhead. I'm not into those kind of games.
I get into them randomly every once in a while. Gran Turismo 2, in it, was getting my licenses, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Joshua and I got locked into, we can't even remember what it was. I don't think it was Project Gotham. I don't think it was a Burnout thing, but we would do like oh, you know what it was? Burnout, because they had the crashing thing.
Well, Burnout's certainly more of the
That's
arcade
arcade.
style, which is
No, but we got into one where you had to like get your licenses for the next level, but then there was some crashing
I'm sure
thing.
you'll think of it.
Yeah, no, I won't, because I've been thinking about it since we started playing it.
So this Need for Speed Shift, simulation style, you compete in a number of different kinds of races. There's these profile points that you can accrue, which are kind of like kudos from the Project Gotham game, where you, based on...
Or underneath my bed in college.
It still hurts.
back.
It still hurts. They are specific kinds of racing style achievements that you can get points based on aggressive driving or precision driving. But the big, I think, coolest feature of this new game is the cockpit view mode, which is the default mode of the game, and it really is the most robust way of doing a cockpit mode that I've seen yet. And I think that's kind of the trend in racing games, is really making you feel like you're in the car. Did you like this game? Did you enjoy it?
I thought this was one of the best race car games I've ever played. It was gorgeous, gorgeous graphics. It's one of those games where like you see it starts to play and you go, I literally had that moment where I was like, is this a cutscene? Or should I be playing? Like when they're starting you up and like talking you through, and
Yeah.
it feels like this could either be in game or not in game. Like, and then this game to me is like Fable
Okay.
with the breadcrumbs.
The line. Yeah, because it's got a line.
Line made me the best I've ever been at playing a race car game.
Yeah.
Because I don't race cars.
So describe this feature.
So the feature is basically, it's this green arrow that kind of gives you the best, most optimal drive line on the course. And if it's green, it's you can accelerate and follow it. And as it starts to turn yellow, it's okay, you should start not accelerating as fast as you're going. And then when it turns red, it's like you're
going way too fast, brake.
You're going way too fast, you're gonna fly into the thing. And it's a way of expressing how you should drive a track. And I always found
It's like a training mode almost.
It is, but it's a training mode for every track, and then it reminds you what you're supposed to be doing. And you know, I mean, they always try to do this with like the little mini map, like, oh, here comes the dog leg, or here comes the hairpin turn. But for the most part, I'm going, you mother,
just hold down the
gas. Down the thing, and then it's like, is that wall coming? Whoa, and then it's like, skip, you know. So it really gets you into that thing of, I want to learn how to do this the best way. It's super fun. The cars are gorgeous. There's a bazillion of them, and I'm sure other, you know, real simulation race car games have the same breadth that this thing does, but I also really like the idea that they could reward you. You can progress through as like, I'm going to do this as technically the best technical way I can do it, really trying to avoid cars. Or you can go, you know what, today, you know, I bumped a car, so now I'm Mr. Bumps a Car.
Yeah, and it rewards you. It's like, oh, you're aggressive.
So I really had a blast.
I know you were digging on this game too, yeah?
Yeah, I like Alex. I mean, I've similar.
I like Alex too, isn't this guy?
Similar history with racing games in that with the straight up racers, the simulation racers, I've I played I got really into a Gran Turismo, one of them back in the day, and also Project Gotham. But then from then on, I could never get sucked back in, and it was just arcade racers. And I played quite a few of the arcade racers. And I love Need for Speed Most Wanted. I think that's one of the best out there. And of course, the Burnout games. This, by far, is it's definitely 100% the best simulation racing game I've ever played. Now,
as somebody who has played very few of them.
Exactly. But as somebody who plays almost every arcade racer that comes out, and it definitely seems like they sort of dip their feet in both pools to make you enjoy this in a new way. The cockpit view, as you said, is gorgeous. It's amazing that it's like, you know, some high-end cars, the faster you go, your audio, your levels of your radio raise up so that it sounds the same. Well, similarly, the cockpit view, the faster you go, the foreground loses focus and it just sharpens up on your windshield so you can see ahead. Despite that, how awesome it was, I just found it much more comfortable to play in the no cockpit view, just the ground rushing, because that is the fastest mode. That is just, you feel the speed and you can see everything. And it was glorious. The graphics, glorious. What the racing line does is it finally allows you to feel like a race car driver, because it gives you just enough to know how to do it, and that way you can think the way a race car driver thinks. So for the first time, when I was in that pack of cars, it's different than Burnout, where you're just doing arcadey stuff to take people out, and it's different from the other games where you're trying to just avoid them, and it feels like you're never with a pack of cars. In this game, when you're with those pack of cars, it's like Tom Cruise at the end of Days of Thunder, man. It's what you wanted.
Sweaty palms.
Sweaty. I've never been. when I play this game, I'm squinting, my heart is pounding, I'm sweaty, but it's not. It's like my first date. It's like, well, did you say?
It's like my first date.
Yeah. It was phenomenal.
I think you guys are right, and I will reiterate again. The three of us, not simulation racing aficionados, we are all coming from a very much of a place of not really knowing much about this particular genre. And we're going to talk about Forza later on this year when it comes out, or in a month or so when it comes out. And it'll be interesting to see if this game in particular is something, or if we're just kind of getting
back into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I think both games are doing similar things.
Let me say, I understand, again, as somebody who doesn't play a lot of these games, that line is not a unique feature to this game. But what is the genius of this game, that I don't know if other games do, but is genius, is that the first thing you do is drive a track, and then the game suggests to you a level of proficiency. So it said to me, you have the driving skills of an infant, of an infant monkey. And which was fine for me, because that made the game structure itself in a way, put the line on the road, turned off a collision to a certain point where it's like it's only cosmetic.
Yeah, I had that on.
Yeah.
Just
Which
cosmetic.
made the game fun and accessible for me, who is not somebody that can excel in these games at their natural setting.
Yeah.
And I think that is where this game welcomed me in a way that a lot of these kinds of games haven't done before.
It's interesting you brought that up because I actually thought that mode was totally useless because.
What mode? The first
what you're talking about. I thought it was cool. Like I was like, oh, that's cool.
Did you change the settings?
But then I did it, and then it had settings, and I played my first round. I was like, this is really. I was like, yeah, I sucked because I just picked up the controller, and it's been a while since I played a racing game. Of course, I'm gonna suck at that. And then so I had to then go in and customize, and it's great because you can customize, you can do all that awesome stuff. But it was just weird that it was like, don't gauge me on the. Excuse me. Don't gauge me on like the first time I touch the controller and play a racing game in a few months. You know what I mean?
Well, I disagree with you wholeheartedly, Daniel.
Well,
I thought that was great. I also
awesome,
had a ton of fun, and it was the first type game like this that I've wanted to keep coming back to and play more of and have a lot of good time.
You had said before that I really related to, in that you almost don't like. I mean, I happen to tolerate it or whatever it is, but. You said you don't like. You said one day that you clued into not liking racing games because they stress you out too much. It sounds like that wasn't a factor with this.
No, absolutely, and maybe it was because I was playing on such an easy setting that the
line though maybe.
Well, the line, yes, but I loved being in the pack of guys. Although getting spun out by somebody is still frustrating, but it's supposed to be frustrating.
And lots of different modes, right?
Yeah, lots of different kinds of
modes.
racing.
Yeah.
And a lot of different kinds of stats that it tracks for you.
And the manufacturer's race where it's like, you remember all that car stuff? Don't worry about it.
We're giving you one.
Yeah. Everybody has the same car. Go. It's like great.
Oh, the other game I want to talk about is another game that came out last week. It is Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. This is the third Mario and Luigi role-playing game to come out on the DS. It's from Nintendo, obviously, but a developer called Alpha Dream. And the previous two games were some of my favorites on the DS, Partners in Time and Superstar Saga, I think it's called. So these are Mario and Luigi platforming kind of take on the traditional Japanese turn-based role-playing game. In this game, it, I think, does a genius, brilliant job of utilizing the two screens because you have the plot of Mario and Luigi getting sucked inside Bowser, getting shrunken down and sucked inside him. So on the bottom screen, for most of the game, they are running around in his innards, and on the top screen you get the outdoor view of Bowser, and you can flip between playing both of those modes. Leveling up, getting items, all the trappings of a traditional role-playing game, but done with that sort of tongue-in-cheek Nintendo wonderful way. Dan, did you enjoy this game as much as I did?
Maybe.
Or pause.
Let me say this. I think it's a brilliant game. Totally. Because
There's a butt coming.
That means bad.
No. Well, the butt is that.
That's my review. It's a brilliant game. Here's the thing.
Like, everything that's brilliant about it comes with the one thing that's like, okay. So first of all, it's actually kind of funny that the thing
It's
with
well
Nintendo,
written, right?
The thing
Very
with Nintendo,
funny.
the thing with Nintendo games is those word bubbles, and I got a million of them, whatever.
Yeah.
These happen to be funny and well written.
Great localization.
Right.
Translation from Japanese.
Totally right. It's not weird. Exactly. That being said, there still were way too many of them, and
you can't skip them.
Yeah, and it's like I wanted to just get through them, and
Especially
if they were,
when you have to load and you have to go see something.
You gotta just pay. You gotta,
I hear you.
Scream. Look, guys, learn about storytelling because if you have them shorter, then I will want to read them because I know. But when you have a million of them, doesn't matter how it could be written by Stephen King, and I'm not interested. Stephen King also writes very big books. But
his games just
and the
fly.
platformingness, a little bit of the puzzle solving. Here's the thing: I didn't get super deep in this game, so I'm anticipating that it gets extremely difficult.
It does,
and that creates wonderful challenge.
It does,
because earlier on there's
yes.
not as much challenge, but I can see that. Oh my gosh, like the time, like there's a little bit of a rhythm game in the combat system. There's a little bit of like the leveling up is fun. It really gave me.
They made sure to add action, beat-to-beat action moments within that turn-based style. So where most role-playing games you would just kind of wait and see and select from a menu and then have the guy attack, you literally have to keep jumping and dodging.
You have to be engaged in it. Yeah. I love this kind of role-playing game. It is phenomenal. I mean, the only reason why I didn't also have a blast is that, I mean, I really did have fun, but I didn't have as much fun as I thought the quality of the game was, because I don't love this milieu. I was sort of like, I don't love the Mario universe. I wanted to.
You're dead inside.
Well, because I wanted to feel like cool. Like this world is so cartoony, and I don't know.
Wonderful and youthful and wonderful. That's what, because you're.
That's true.
Yeah. Alex, are you also dead inside, or do you have some wonderfulness?
Maybe. So
Well, don't taint
to make it
the love.
so.
He said taint.
This game, when I picked this up, first off, I was sort of surprised because when I had seen it, it was like, oh yeah, it's like you play a level, side scroller as Bowser, then you play side scroller in Guts as Mario and Luigi is what I anticipated when Dan handed it to me and said, I said, oh yeah, whatever, I got like an hour, it's cool, no biggie. And he was like, it's not that kind of game. This game is early Final Fantasy having sex with Super Mario, and Wario is videotaping it.
But for kids.
But for kids. That's what this game is. It first off, so much fun, at least for me. I had a blast. I loved the switching back and forth, the ping-ponging back and forth. The writing is hysterical. It nailed RPG for me. I'm not a big Japanese RPG fan. But for some reason, the leveling up of the characters and the different abilities and stuff, and maybe it's just the story, I could get into it a little bit more because it's sort of familiar. It's like Mario, They actually did something which I would like to see MMOs implement, which is, this is how you level, your stats are level, you're one level, boom. Is there a stat you'd like to gamble a bonus on? Genius. I hit 4s a couple times, and I was like, I'm the most powerful man in the world! It's like these little itty bitty things. It's just so good. And then learning how to manage your items and all this stuff. All the things that I believe people love about Japanese RPGs that I just can't get into enough to love about them. I was able to experience in this game. I thought it was great, super deep, and super fun.
I loved it, and it really, you said deep at the end there, and it really is. It's a big, long, fun game. I can't wait to play more of it. I'm wonderful looking game on the DS. Between last week playing Scribblenauts and this week playing this game, I'm reminded how much I love my DS. We've been, the handheld space for me has been dominated the last few months with my iPhone. I forgot how great the DS can be, and this game really reminded me that the fact that you constantly are getting new power-ups that do new and interesting things. You're turning your thing sideways and blowing into the microphone, all kinds of crazy stuff. I think this is one of the best DS games ever. I think it's better than the two previous prequels to this of the same style, because doing the Bowser elements are so much fun. You feel much more powerful when you play as him. He's got some interesting
specials.
Yeah, exactly. And the going inside him stuff really works and really is fun. Yes, there are those things, those trappings of Nintendo games that are still annoying with, yes, I really wish I could skip this. Some of those things are still there and it's annoying, but overall, a really fun, great game.
We should say, too, no stylus involved, which some people...
Oh, there's some stylus. Yeah, there's Bowser attacks.
That's true, that's true. But
and
also,
mini-games, there's little mini-games where you have to do this.
I didn't get it. I think I only had one stylus. So you're right. But anyway...
but no stylus.
I was new to the dual dudes, like Mario and Luigi, which is there's been a couple of these, but the idea of normally when you platform, it's just your one guy has to jump. Here you have to jump using two buttons or at the same time, and always playing with that was awesome.
Very clever.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors, such lovely sponsors as thesquarespace.com. Also, squarespace.com. I think I've said that joke a couple times. Couple thousand times. Anyway, Squarespace is an amazing site for web hosting, as well as the best WYSIWYG editor in the history of WYSIWYG editors, and now I know that better than I ever did because they now host TotallyRadShow.com, and I am the WYSIWYG master who has to go in and do shit.
I love you, and I'm gonna let you finish, but people have to check out TotallyRadShow.com if they haven't.
Such a great update. And
it's amazing what they were able to do with that.
Unbelievable. All done through Squarespace.
And as we said, it's evolving.
It is, because we
And
just, yeah.
amazingly, we should say that like there was something
evolving
that
on its own.
There was something that wasn't there. We just launched it.
Yeah.
We'd already launched it, and then we realized, oh my God, it'd be great if we had this functionality to it.
Yeah.
And you said, well, let me noodle around with Squarespace, easy WYSIWYG.
Yep. Easy WYSIWYG.
And you said, here, hit refresh, and I went, oh my God, it's there, amazing.
Ninja. I'm
Yeah.
a wizard with Ninja.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you have a site, any kind of site that you want to have on the interwebs, head over to squarespace.com. Not only do they have cheap hosting and amazing WYSIWYG software, but if you use the coupon code TRS when you check out, you save 10% off the entire lifetime of your site. It's ridiculous. We love those guys. Squarespace.com.
Also, Gamefly.com is your place to go for subscription to video games. What say you?
I say
that
yes.
sounds crazy. Crazy enough to work.
Say no.
What you do is you pay a low monthly
little
fee.
late.
It's like $15.99, and you get as many video games as you can possibly get. If you can get through them, you can get as many as you can play.
Yes.
He said very articulately.
Yes.
Play a game. Send it back. Next one comes in the mail. It works just like Netflix, but for games, and it's fantastic. There's promo. If you go to gamefly.com/TTRS, stands for The Totally Rad Show. You get a 2-week free trial, so you can check it out and see if it's right for you. I have a pretty good guess that it will be, because it's the great way to play as many video games as you can possibly stick in your computer, console, whatever.
Handheld.
I'm not doing well over here.
That's amazing.
Is he still talking?
Gamefly.com, check it out.
What are you up to here, Dan?
GoDaddy.com, also sponsoring the show. Great place to get your domain names, super cheap domains, as low as $1.99. Tons of hosting options.
Yep.
Really
startup software.
good startup software, really good customer
WordPress.
service.
Gesundheit.
So get your piece of the internet over at GoDaddy.com or go to revision3.com/GoDaddy, where they have tons of promo codes for you to choose from when you check out.
Hey! Also, Revision 3's new show, Bite Jacker, hosted by Anthony Carboni. It covers all of the independent and downloadable games markets every Thursday. Revision3.com/BiteJacker. They're going to
Plus,
talk
it's
about.
fun to say Carboni.
Hey, Carboni.
The boners. The boners to bone.
Anywho, I'm glad he's like, the TRS is talking about my show. What? Boners
I
to
hate
Boney?
those guys.
I hate those guys. They're going to cover Xbox Live Marketplace games, I'm assuming PSN games, iPhone games, WiiWare games, all the
cool
sort of
thing
like
about this
downloadable
show-
and independent games.
Cool thing about this show is that it's been on for like 60, 70 episodes already. He's been doing it, and so it's not like you're just hopping on some newbie.
No.
These guys know what they're doing.
For a while, yeah. Very, very, very slick show. Check it out. Revision3.com/BiteJacker. Let's get to our email, shall we, fellas? I have been watching the show since episode 1 and have loved every minute of everything you guys do, especially when you break the show. We do that.
We just talked about that today.
Surrogates checked off. I want to thank you for getting my wife and 5-year-old daughter.
Keep talking. Don't finish the sentence. Finish the sentence.
And I into geocaching. Got it. Okay.
Much less bad.
Much less bad. It is great exercise and family fun. My 5-year-old daughter actually just found her first cache without any help. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than us.
Yeah,
Definitely better.
Definitely better than us. With the start of football season, a question came into mind. Bling. Can you be a sports guy and a geek at the same time? And what sports did you guys play when you were younger? Thanks for being rad people that you are, Andrew Correnti in San Diego. What's up, SD? Booyah. Sorry about the Chargers. I'm a big fan, but...
It's early in the season.
Yeah,
Early.
it is, but we barely won over the Raiders, and then we got not won over the whoever's. I blocked that whole game out. Jeffrey, you look like a strapping young man. Did
thank you, sir.
you partake in any of the...
I do. I'm a huge football fan, and played football in high school a little bit. Not well. Second string.
We heard about that.
Huh?
We heard about that story.
You did? What story was that?
Where something, remember you were on the bench and then called your name, high pitched or something?
High pitched.
I don't remember that either. What happened?
He'll pitch.
It's go
Watch
back
an old
in there.
episode.
Yeah, old episode.
Yeah.
But
I there?
you know, I've just gotten into this year is the
Friday Night Lights.
well, yes, amazing.
Yeah.
If you're watching my Twitter. Come on.
He's running.
No, got into that a few years ago, but I'll tell you.
Gaga?
It is the fantasy football, which is where the world of geek and the world of sports definitely collide. And anybody who thinks they're playing fantasy football and isn't a geek is lying to themselves.
Because they're playing D&D.
They're playing D&D. It's all numbers. It's all math and yeah. Really fun. I won my first 2 games through the help of a very awesome watcher of the show. And yeah, love football, love being a geek.
Cool.
I mean, nobody's...
So you played football in early years?
Yeah. I mean, I played lots of sports. I played basketball too and stuff.
Cool.
But
Dan, you're
I
a
mean-
human being. What kind of sports would you play?
Gaga, tetherball, ping pong.
All very
Sports.
difficult.
But I was gonna say too, to follow up on that, I mean, if you've seen SportsCenter or if you've watched a game and heard commentators, those dudes are geeks. Big time. If
Sports geeks,
you invest
Totes.
that amount of energy into learning all the facets and minutia about something that you love and are passionate about, that is geekery. We know what you mean.
you might be a geek.
Yeah.
If you...
Clearly you mean if you're into like video games and movies and games and stuff like that, can you also be athletic or into athleticism? And I get the divide.
Dan's like, and the answer is no.
No.
For me, no.
I think it's
Did you hear me say Gaga and tetherball?
Yeah,
but
I
you
mean,
were into
I'm
martial
not.
arts as a
I'm
kid.
definitely not the guy. Oh, I was big time into martial arts, but in a very geeky way. I was more into the philosophy and all the stuff about it than I
And
was in the
punching in the
doing
face.
it.
Got
Dan,
it.
why I'm doing martial arts?
I mean,
just thinking
let me
about
tell
it.
you,
Just
me
thinking.
doing martial arts as a kid, me in karate class was literally before we had to spar, take off my shirt, hold up my hands, and go into the ring like this, like Tong Po and kickboxer.
Amazing.
That is what I liked about karate
Amazing.
class.
Taking off your shirt.
Yes. So,
All right.
yes. Anyway.
Dan,
I think you
when
can-
Dan's go wild.
Yeah, I think the answer is resoundedly yes. There's nothing that you can't do on any side of the thing. I was very into sports. I skateboarded all through my high school and elementary school careers, but at a fairly high level. Was actually sponsored by a local skate shop to be a skater. Really enjoyed it. Then got into snowboarding. And then in college, actually played rugby for about 2 years. So I was on the college rugby team, played that for 2 years, which was also really, really, really fun. So I think that they're definitely not
Mutually exclusive.
Exclusive, yeah. So I say if you like sports and you like playing computer games, speaking of which, if you play Madden, you're a geek. That's the end of it. Whether you play it because you want it.
There's one addendum, real quick addendum though, I have to say. You know, we say nerd is the new cool, which I believe, and geek has become chic, but there's a lot of people that claim they were geeks when they were kids that really weren't. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of cool now to be like, oh, I'm so geeky. It's like when girls used to say, oh, I was such a tomboy. It's like, really, every single girl that I've ever known was a tomboy. There were some girls that weren't tomboys. It's like, there are some people that weren't geeky, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, Andrew from San Diego, for your email, and good luck with your geocaching. If you'd like to have your email read on the show, please feel free to send it to fans@totallyradshow.com.
That's also where you would send a background like Hector did. Very, very cool.
Yes, amazing.
You can download this background on our website, totallyradshow.com, which you have to check out. You should also definitely check out totallyradshow.com/blog.
Yes.
That is the best way to keep up with what we're doing. You'll notice their big style is what we're going to be doing in middle of October, which is we're participating in the Extra Life charity event, which is we're going to be playing video games for 24 hours to benefit Texas Children's Hospital. He said articulately, the pediatric cancer research. And so we urge you to check out our blog. It has a link there where you can go over and either participate with us in that event or just sponsor us. And we would love, even a low dollar amount, anything you can afford would be great. It goes great.
We're not
right
doing
to
it
charity.
for fun, though we will have fun. We're doing it for you guys to support this stuff.
Yeah.
We want to get you guys motivated to help out kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to not help out kids? Huh? Do you?
Yeah.
You
don't wanna make Dan
You just
talk right to
murdered
you.
Mary. You just murdered a little. No, sorry.
Wow.
Horrible, Dan.
Interesting tact.
You know what? Reminds me of his drunk driving rants. Anything else, Danny?
I mean, they should probably get some clothes if they want them.
Yeah, james.com/CRS.
I'll tell you what. We should let them know. Everyone really dug apparently our DVD because it's sold out.
Oh yes, that is right.
So
we're
do
trying
not
to
try and go and buy one because it's sold out.
You could try.
So we'll see maybe later. Who knows? But for now, We apologize if you wanted to get one. Hopefully, we'll see if there's something
Maybe
for
you
you
should
in the
act
future.
quicker.
Yeah.
You should have acted
What's
quicker.
up? I don't know why that was so aggressive. All right, well, that is it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. I am Alex Albrecht.
That's Dan Trachtenberg.
That's Jeff Canada.
Until next time, sleep tight. Anything?
What are we waiting? What am I hoping for?
The light is not turning on.
Oh, that light?
I think your Mac rebooted. Okay, I believe you. Jump in the line.
Ready?
Yep. I'm very
So
excited about
here
that.
we're in the lobby. There's big books that are.
I love that this is what
And they
Dan
say-
sees.
amazing
A lamp.
things.
I see a
Wood
lamp.
paneling that looks old and archaic and magical.
Well, why don't we let
Yes.
Matt tell us a
So-
little bit about
No. Dan was giving us such a great tour of the archaic nature of the Magic Castle.
But you can put us in suits, but we still act the
It's
same.
still like the same.